Right now, members of the Dane County community are voicing their concerns on school safety, what kind of changes they say they want to see. Plus, a new directive from the Trump administration calls for a freeze on spending that doesn't align with the president's priorities, what might be impacted, and why lawmakers say it's not legal. Well, good afternoon, and thank you for tuning in on this Tuesday. You are watching News 3 Now at noon. I'm Michelle Renee Quinn, filling in for Josh. It's been over a month since the shooting at Abundant Life Christian School, and the calls for action are getting louder. Last night, 2 state lawmakers hosted a public listening session to address community concerns regarding school safety. Dozens of people filled the room at the Monona Public Library. Elected officials, teachers, students, first responders, and school officials were in attendance. Some high school students stood up to speak to local leaders about how they see a need for change in schools.
They are stacked high with words like district policy. In other words, what is written on those walls is excuses, excuses, excuses. I'm here today because I frankly am fed up with how our world is looking and how students at our schools are feeling unsafe going into buildings. And I just really want people in power to be pushing for change.
The push for more security and mental health resources were the biggest request.
Our life is doing it better for the children every single step. And we have to keep our students and our staff safe. So if somebody's doing it better, then we need to look at that.
This is the latest conversation surrounding school safety. Governor Tony Evers recently announced the new Violence Prevention Office because of the ALCS shooting. UW Athletics is looking into accusations of mistreatment by former student athlete Tessa Towers. In a TikTok post, Towers claimed UW women's basketball coach Marissa Mosley made her sign a release form in order to access her therapy sessions. Towers also claims Mosley told her that if she mentioned her suicidal thoughts to her therapist, she would be kicked off the team. In a statement released last night, UW Athletics said, quote, "We are aware of comments shared online by former Badger student athlete Tessa Towers and will be looking into this matter. We care deeply about the physical and mental well-being of all student athletes on our teams during their times on campus." 7 governors now support Ben Wickler to be chair of the Democratic National Committee. Wickler is currently the chairman for Wisconsin's Democratic Party. Some of the governors backing Wickler are Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, Andy Beshear of Kentucky, and Tina Kotik of Oregon. They say Wickler is a unifier and will invest in governors. 448 DNC members will vote for the chairperson this Saturday. Wickler says he has the support of 130 members. He needs another 95 votes to win. And it's going to be a windy one these next few days. Here's First Warn meteorologist Jacob Montesano with a look at your certified most accurate forecast.
Yeah, the wind's still howling out here right behind me pretty loudly, but it is keeping the temperatures up. If we take a look at these current temperatures, they're mostly in the middle to upper 30s and lower 40s. It actually is expected to get a little bit warmer today than it did yesterday, but obviously it is going to remain very windy. Wind speeds up around 15 to 20 miles per hour for Dane County, close to 30 miles per hour to the south of Dane County, 28 miles per hour specifically in Monroe. As we take a look at the wind gust forecast, some areas are close to 40 mile per hour wind gusts. So definitely hold on to your hats out there because it's going to remain pretty windy throughout the day. It actually may get a little bit worse before it gets better. Now it's still going to be breezy throughout the night, but not quite as bad. Still going to see those wind gusts up around 30 miles per hour. And windy conditions are expected to continue for Wednesday and Thursday, although, again, likely not going to be as bad as what we're seeing right now. Taking a look at the cloud cover forecast, though, we're going to remain very sunny. We could see a few clouds here and there, but for the most part, dry conditions and sunny conditions, or I should say clear conditions, are expected for the next couple of days until we get to Friday. So looking at the forecast throughout the afternoon, highs will be in the lower 40s with some windy conditions. But I'll talk more in detail about when our next chance of rain will be coming up a little bit later.
All right, Jacob, thank you. 12:04 now. In week 2 of his administration, President Trump continues to order sweeping changes from a federal aid freeze to reshaping the military. Natalie Brand sorts through the new directions and their confusion coming from the White House.
In a flurry of new actions, President Trump is pausing federal grants and loans as of 5 p.m. today, potentially impacting everything from higher education to small businesses. The Office of Management and Budget is directing federal agencies to assess compliance with President Trump's priorities. The freeze memo specifically mentions financial assistance for foreign aid, what it calls woke gender ideology, and the Green New Deal. Senate Democrats say the congressionally approved investments are not optional, they're law.
No matter how much he may believe he does, the president does not have the authority to ignore the law, and we're going to fight this in every way that we can.
The memo states the freeze will not impact Social Security, Medicare, or assistance provided directly to individuals.
President Trump also signed an executive order which paves the way for his administration to reinstate a ban on transgender military members.
We will get transgender ideology the hell out of our military. It's going to be gone.
The new executive order directs the Pentagon to determine a policy for transgender service members based on readiness and argues expressing a false gender identity different from an individual's sex cannot satisfy the rigorous standards necessary for military service. Army veteran Layla Ireland and her husband are both transgender.
When we hear this executive order saying that we're not worthy of service, it is unnerving. It's disheartening to hear.
Groups, including the Human Rights Campaign, say they intend to sue.
We believe this is unconstitutional because it singles out transgender people for differential treatment in a way that harms the military.
Legal challenges on the issue during the first Trump administration went all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
12:06 now. Employees at the CDC are being told to stop communicating with the World Health Organization. The directive is in accordance with President Trump's January 20th executive order withdrawing the U.S. from the WHO. The U.S. is one of the organization's largest funders. Federal law requires 1 year of notice before eliminating U.S. support for the WHO. Trump's order claims legal notice was given during his first term in 2020, so withdrawal can happen immediately. And coming up next, Coca-Cola announces the launch of a new flavor. Plus, the Department of Agriculture issues an alert on frozen chicken nuggets.
You're watching News 3 Now at noon. Moving forward.
U.S. chipmaker NVIDIA had the biggest one-day loss by a company ever on Monday, dropping nearly $600 billion in market value. It's due to Chinese tech startup DeepSeek, which has created an artificial intelligence model that costs much less than those made by U.S. competitors. DeepSeek's AI assistant was Apple's most downloaded app yesterday, surpassing rival ChatGPT. The Department of Agriculture has issued an alert on Wegmans frozen chicken breast nuggets. The agency says the product may contain bone fragments, which could result in injury if eaten. The impacted 46-ounce bags of nuggets are no longer on store shelves, but could still be in people's freezers with a best if used by date of August 26, 2025. There are no reports of injuries so far. Consumers are urged to throw out the nuggets or else return them. And Coca-Cola is launching a new flavor next month, Orange Cream. The drink mixes Coke's iconic bubbly flavor with orange and creamy vanilla. It also comes in zero sugar. Orange Cream Coca-Cola hit store shelves on February 10th, with plans for it to remain on sale at least through the beginning of next year. That's your CBS News Money Watch report. For more, log on to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the CBS Broadcast Center, I'm Chanel Call.
Here's a look at the current stock numbers. The Dow Jones is up 148, the Nasdaq is up 329, and the S&P 500 is up 42. Our Call for Action volunteers are in the building taking your consumer complaints and taking action on your behalf. You can call for action at 608-270-2833 or submit a claim anytime at channel3000.com/call-for-action. Up next, Pam has today's farm numbers and Jacob is back with the forecast. Then later on, live at 4, UW Health's Dr. Jeff Potoff joins us to talk about a newly FDA-approved drug derived from ketamine, how it works, and who it's for. Welcome back. Let's check in now with our fabulous farm babe, Pam Yonke, for your Midwest Farm Report. Good afternoon, Pam.
Hello, Michelle Renee. Yeah, beautiful day. Need the sunglasses to be out and about today, which is a wonderful thing. Stay out of the wind, though. I've got some of my crew down at the Carbon Credit 3.0 conference happening right now at the Sheraton Hotel here in Madison, hosted by professional dairy producers of Wisconsin. You know, one thing that often agriculture doesn't think about is the language we use when it comes to conveying our message to consumers, but also the language that we understand when it comes to some of the carbon credit opportunities that are out there. Professional Dairy Producers of Wisconsin's got a day-long conference to help us better unpack some of the language that they use in carbon crediting. What do you need to know? How do you manage to kind of get your farm lined up for some of the credits that are available on carbon? And who's buying, as a matter of fact? We've got some dairy processors, Agripur, Grande Cheese, and Dairy Farmers of America that are going to be sharing insights on why they're paying attention to carbon credits and the footprint that dairy farmers may offer them. Again, that's going on this afternoon at the Sheraton. It is open to anybody that wants to come on by and pay a small fee for registration. The Wisconsin 4-H Foundation has announced that they're doing some restructuring. Charlie Crave, president of the Wisconsin 4-H Foundation board, said that they have parted company with Brenda Scheider, their executive director, and her assistant, Joanne Wolin. What they're doing now is they are channeling their energies to work with the UW Foundation on fundraising as well as delivery of goods for the donors. He said that this is a plan to make sure that every dollar is going farther on behalf of the donors and to serve the Wisconsin 4-H population out there. Wisconsin 4-H Foundation has been around for some 70 years. So, dairy product prices today not doing too bad. Again, barrel cheese up another 2.5 cents to $1.86.5. 40-pound block cheese gained 2 today at $1.89. But the AA butter slipping just a bit, down 3 to $2.50 a pound on a sunny-looking but windy Tuesday.
All right, Pam, thanks so much. And these milder temperatures are sticking around for a little longer. Here's Jacob with the complete forecast.
Thanks, Michelle. Here's a look at the 3 things you need to know. We're going to continue to be windy for the next couple of days through at least Thursday. But as you mentioned, we are going to be staying warm at least for the rest of this week. But over the weekend, we have some unsettled weather in the forecast. Could see some snow, could see some rain. I'll talk about that in just a moment. But first, I do want to start with the winds once again. They're going to remain very windy across the area throughout the afternoon. Gusts will be up to 30 to 35 miles per hour, calming down a little bit for the overnight hours, where wind gusts will be around 30 miles per hour, so still a bit breezy. But notice these winds will be out of the northwest, and that will continue for Wednesday. Again, the winds improving a little bit for Wednesday, but still just kind of breezy out there. But these northwesterly winds will cool the temperatures down just a little bit for Wednesday, still above normal. And then we'll calm down Wednesday night before the winds pick back up for Thursday afternoon. But Thursday, they're going to be back out of the south, gusting up to around 30 miles per hour, and these winds will create the warmest temperatures so far this week, where highs could hit 50. Now, throughout the afternoon, we'll see highs in the middle to lower 40s. Partly sunny skies, could see some mostly cloudy skies at times, mostly sunny skies at times. Overall, just on and off clouds with the windy conditions. Tomorrow, not quite as windy, but it will be a bit cooler. Highs may only reach the upper 30s, still well above normal for this time of the year. And as we look at the high temperatures for the next 10 days, Thursday is going to be even warmer than what we're going to see today and what we saw yesterday. Highs could hit 50, and then they're going to fluctuate a little bit over the weekend before dropping into the 20s for a good portion of next week. Now, as we take a look at weekend systems, there is a little bit of discrepancies in the model. So I'm going to show you the European model first. This one kind of brings that rain just to the edge of southern Wisconsin. But as you can see, the majority of the precipitation will stay south of us in this scenario. Could see a mix of rain and snow in northern Illinois, but it looks like if this track stays true, we're not going to see much here in our area. But continuing into the weekend, there is a chance of some snowfall, mainly for areas north of Madison and into northern Wisconsin. Again, this is the European model. The GFS does have a little bit of a different track of this system as well. Just some light snow expected with the European model, and then we could also see some rain mixed in with the snow by the time we get to Sunday. Now, as we look at the GFS or American model, this one brings the system a little bit further north, still only making its way into far southern Wisconsin, but this track brings it up to Madison, where we could see some rain and a mixture of some snow, maybe even some freezing drizzle as well, clearing out throughout the afternoon on Friday. And then as we get towards Saturday, this system does look to be a little bit further to the south compared to the European model, still bringing that snow to northern Wisconsin, but we could see a little bit more rain and snow in this track and continue to see that light mixture of rain and snow over the weekends. Now, even with the GFS model, which brings more precipitation to our area, we are still not expecting a lot of accumulation. It could get a little messy at times, but the amount of snow that will stick on the ground will likely be very little, especially by the time we get to Monday. We're not going to be seeing much snow on the ground. At least that's what it looks like right now. So we'll have a few on and off chances of precipitation from Friday through Sunday. Nothing, though, looks to be too significant or too likely. So we may miss out on the precipitation as a whole, but overall, that will be our next best chance of precipitation.
All right, Jacob, thank you. Next, Howard is preparing a taste of summer in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Wouldn't it be nice to get away to the beach for a little R&R right about now? Of course it would, and with that would come lots of great food. Well, maybe we can't get to the beach, but the dish we're whipping up today will certainly make us feel like we're there, and it comes together in no time. We saute some chopped garlic in a bit of olive oil till it's golden. Just make sure you keep an eye on it, because it can go from golden to burnt in no time. Now we add in a couple cans of chopped clams, yep, with the juice and all, a bit more clam juice, some chopped parsley, and a few seasonings that we have right in our pantry. While that simmers, we cook up a pound of linguine, and after we drain it, we top it with the clam sauce, and dinner is ready. And if you really want to go to town, how about steaming a few fresh clams to top this off with to make it even more beach-worthy? Either way, when you serve up steaming bowls of this, topped with some grated Parmesan cheese, get ready for the taste of summer. So what do you say you grab your flip-flops, a straw hat, and the recipe for our seashore linguine so you can have a midwinter getaway without leaving the house? I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a summery way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
Coming up, UW Health clinical dietitian Michelle Swader has some food safety tips, what you need to know after the break. Welcome back. UW Health clinical dietitian Michelle Swader is back with us. FDA changes in food labeling and ingredients is the topic of this month's health segment.
Thanks. Yeah, there's been a couple updates with the FDA regulations just in December and January. So there's two big ones that I think customers should be looking out for. First of all, the FDA has now banned red dye number 3. So this is an additive that was in candies, cereal, even some medications, just to give it that bright red color. It has been banned in other countries as well, so we're not the first ones to do this. The reason is that it has been found just lately to have a little bit of rodent studies where there's some cancer causing. And it is an FDA regulation that no food additive can be carcinogenic to animals or humans. So now that's banned. You do have a couple of years before that has to be fully out of the food market. So if you're concerned about it, you can just read your label and watch out for that red dye number 3. The next one you might see a little bit sooner. That's a change that they're making on the healthy food claim. So that's it. There's an icon that you can put on the front of your packaging if you meet their requirements. The things that's going to be changing this year is that they used to put limits on total fat, saturated fat, cholesterol, and sodium. However, this rule hasn't been updated in about 30 years. So what they've done is they've tried to update with what we know about now as watching added sugar, wanting more healthy fat. So now they've taken away the total fat and the cholesterol, and they've added extra sugar or added sugar. So what that means as you're shopping is that some of the foods that might have carried this healthy food label, like breakfast cereal, yogurt, white bread, because they were low fat, now don't get to have that advertisement on the front of the package. Some of the things that hadn't been able to be touted as healthy, like nuts and seeds, olive oil, now because of their healthy fat content and not having added sugars, they're going to be able to have that claim. So again, this is going to take a few years to fully get implemented, but obviously food companies that have things with healthy fat and they're not putting a lot of sugar, you're going to see them try to put that in as soon as possible.
All right. Well, Michelle, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We appreciate you joining us today.
All right.
And here's Jacob with a final check of your forecast.
Thanks, Michelle. We are going to be seeing the breezy conditions and mild temperatures continue for the next couple of days. Now, for tomorrow, it will drop just a little bit with highs in the upper 30s, but we're still going to be pretty well above average for this time of the year. Now, as we take a look at Thursday, we could be hitting 50, so that might be one of the warmest days of the year so far. Now, for the weekend, things are going to be a little bit unsettled. We do have a few chances of some rain and snow. Very hit or miss at this point in time. The track of these systems over the weekend are still very unclear. So at this point in time, we are not expecting much in the form of snow accumulation, but it could get messy at times. Now for next week, the temperatures will fall. We'll have more highs in the 20s with a few chances of snow next week as well, especially for Thursday. But in general, it does look like the cooler temperatures will return for Monday of next week. So definitely enjoy the mild temperatures the next couple days, despite the very windy conditions we'll see.
All right, we'll be back at 4. Stick around.